of our 100 days of community. And today was a day already. Pardon me, I have a little bit of a cough today. Maybe possibility of a cold. I'm not entirely sure. But thank you for being here. Thank you for coming along on this journey. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Allison. Hey, Neuro Revolution. So today, what we are talking about is what's possible when we prioritize collective care. If you follow along on my Substack, you'll know that also during this winter, I'm like, it's the season of self, right? That's the series that I'm writing with. If you're familiar with my work or follow me for a few years now, every winter I do this. I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we outside? There is nothing new. Everything is dormant. Everything is integrating. Everything is getting ready and prepared. Like, for renewal because it's resting, it's being dormant. So, what I like to do in my online communities is during this season, during this time, I'm like, okay, let's talk about all the things you've learned over this year, right? Like, what have you learned instead of the doom scrolling, instead of uh, the constant workshops? So, like, okay, pause, take a breath. We know you read all the books. You've been to all the workshops. You donated all the money. You showed up to all the fucking marches. Yummy. Delicious. We love to see it. What have you learned? And time again, we see that it's not much because when it comes to being actionable, we'll see the same mistakes, the same missteps, the same conversations happening over and over and over again. So for me, I was like, okay, we're going to do something different, right? Because I do, bang on about the whole take a moment, take some time. It's winter, sit down and be still. But I love this daily, let's connect and do it, right? So collective care as a revolutionary act, because I do 3 takeaways, right? And then you'll get to follow up in a video and an article and all of the good stuff because Substack is super user friendly. Thank you to them for that. Takeaway 1, collective care as a revolutionary act. 2, the ripple effect of care in community spaces. 3, redefining success through collective care. This is going to be so much fun. I love community and collective action. I want us to also think about macro versus micro. You are not going to change a damn thing in the world if you don't change it within yourself, within your home, right? If your home systems are about you being a martyr mom, if your home systems are about you being a man that's only valued for your paycheck, if your home systems are, where your children belong to you as property, it's not going to change. Not going to change anything, right? If you show up to a job and you don't challenge the systems that are there, all of the stuff that you've learned means nothing because you spend most of your time at work. So if you can't practice the things that you're learning, right? What are we doing? If you don't go home and do the things that you're learning, what are we doing? So what's been happening and what I notice is I'm like, oh, you guys only could do this work in your echo chambers, right? So that's why my systems work is about home, work, and self, because all 3 of those have to be working in tandem to actually create that ripple effect. And now I already jumped to number 2. So no, look, let's back it up. Oh, good morning, Laura. That's one of the main things I've learned from you, that it's that you have to change your home in our everyday lives. Yes. Yeah, literally. When we Hi, Julie. When we say, when people say like think think globally, act locally, they're still thinking a systems mindset, which is beautiful. Yes, I think that more change is going to happen in your local governance, government officials, offices, and spaces because you're in community with those people, right? Like, than it will at a presidential level. But your views again will not be changed unless you are doing this work internally and within your internal spaces, which is home. So, collective care as a revolutionary act, right? Number 1. Supremacy culture prioritizes productivity and individual success over well being, framing care as weakness. Hi, Jackie. Prioritizing collective care challenges these systems by centering humanity, equity, and sustainability, right? And that is so important. One of the biggest things that I go on about is sustainable activism. Cause like how long can you scream at people? Like, actually, like how long can you? And we know that it's not long because we see the fall off, we see the advocacy fatigue, and we get it. We're tired too. Everybody that's been doing this work generationally, right? Generations have been doing this work, they're exhausted. We are exhausted, right? You see the whole push for the 92%. Yet 92% are still doing the work. And it's because we show up in joy, we show up in community, being sustained collective care with our people. Just that simple, right? And if we're not being held, we burn out too because you can't do this alone. None of this is meant to be alone. As an example, I said consider the rise of mutual aid networks across during the COVID-19 pandemic. These grassroots efforts provided food, medical supplies, and emotional support to communities, which meant they had got to bypass the systems that were already here. We seen that even with Appalachia, right? Please find and seek out Chelsea White. Um, Rising Redneck. I was like, I'm gonna say Rising Redneck podcast, and I was on an episode of hers. We met on TikTok. You know, she became somebody who followed. I hate the word followed. Weird ego thing that can happen in those spaces. But she became somebody who was following me for my educational content, and we developed a relationship because she was really awesome, down to earth, and she really works within her community. That her mutual aid fund, and she's very transparent, you know, thousands of dollars. I do this myself. I remind people within the past 2 months, just on my Facebook post alone, I have my own mutual funds in Venmo. There's a whole mutual aid network website. And in these past 2 months, we've kept two people housed, gave a mom, her son was killed, gave her mom some reprieve from having to work because she was given so much financial support to help bury her son so she didn't have to work 2 and 3 shifts in order to do so. Like that is the collective care, right? And that woman emailed, texted me, she invited me to her kid's funeral, and I met her over a phone call. Like she was talking to me. I told you guys I shared, I'm fostering my great nephew. And so she was doing an assessment of his needs. And I was getting, and let me tell you, I was getting a mani petty in the middle of the day with my 5-year-olds. But something just felt off, right? And I was like, sis, what's good? Because you sound like, she's like, yo, my son was getting, I'm like, well, okay, we're not going to just glance over that. We're going to pause. We're going to take this moment and we're going to honor what you're going through because you are at work right now and there's nothing natural about burying your child. It's just not the proper order of things. I feel for any mother, I want to cry right now thinking about it, that has had to do that. That is not how it's supposed to be, and we need to give space for that grief. And anyhow, so we talked, and I said, "Listen, whatever you need to write down, let's finish this interview, this and the third." I was like, "And if you want, give me right, Jackie," because I'm like, "Wow, it's just not natural." Anyway, I was like, "Give me your information, text it to me, you know, separately from this. Thank you for trying to get me services for him. I appreciate it, and we'll see what we can do." We raised over, I think it was like $1,500 in a day. She would have never been able to get $1,500 on her own. No, right? So that is an example of mutual aid. There is plenty. We consistently talk about redistribution of funds because we want these billionaires to give up money. We want these companies to give up money. And yes, they should. They 100% should. But we need to do that. We need to show them how it's done. Because you know what? If we were doing that, we wouldn't even really give a damn what they were doing because they would have to reflect how we're living. That is what happens. That is that ripple effect going into part two. Well, not part two, but the second takeaway. That is the ripple effect. How we live in our lives, how we do collective care is going to ripple into larger systems, right? Up here in that hierarchy. As an example, I have a little free library. Those are cool. I fucking love them. I think they're adorable. In the wintertime, you know what I do? It shifts to a little free pantry. Nobody wants to read when they're hungry and it's cold. Go to a library. Like, no, so that's my shift, right? Like that's the small little thing that I can do. There we go. There's a bunch of little things in there. Me and the kids fill it up. They know we go through our pantry. We try to buy maybe a little bit of extra groceries, $10, $15 a week, and we put it in there. Just that simple. No big deal. My little free library is on the map. So they can come across it and they'll find it. And that's changing a generation because my children think about it differently, right? Like my kids are like, oh, well, yeah. Well, we could say that. Not like the weird scraps. I don't do that whole we're gonna throw out our old Christmas toys to get new Christmas toys. Like nobody wants your broken shit. We go and we buy new shit, and we'll donate new stuff, right? Like people that don't have doesn't mean that they deserve your trash, right? Donate that at any given time. You want to do a Christmas time sort of thing, buy some new stuff and donate that, and then you're going to change the trajectory of how the next generation of things thinks. So, to the second point, the ripple effect of care in community spaces. That mom, as an example, was absolutely amazing. Another mom that we helped just had a new baby and like 8 or 9 year old girl, something of that sort. And she's like out on medical leave, whole bunch of heart issues, diabetes, this and other thing. And she was about to be unhoused. These people don't care about you. They care about their bottom line. And we stopped that, right? And I say we because that is that collective effort. That is everybody's money, right? Somebody, like I said, I told you guys about the GoFundMe I had, message me $20. Oh, it's not a lot. $20 is a lifesaver on the right day. $5 is a right. I hate when people do that because you know what? If I'm stranded on the side of the road and I need $20, I bet that's the best $20 I've ever seen in my life. Best. Okay, it's not a little funky $20. It's not no little bit of money. It is a lifesaver. That $20 got me from point A to point B. That is invaluable amount of money. It's not about the amount, it's about the act. If you give somebody $5 and that's the meal that they ate today, I bet that what they're thinking about is, damn, I got something to eat. Not damn, she only gave me $5. Right? So collectively, how much can we do? How much can we get? And then that's capacity, that's sustainability. If you could turn around and say, you know what, I can give $5 to a mutual aid fund every month, and that's what you could do. I did that for about 5 years. I was like, you know what, all I could afford is $5, but I did it steadily for 5 years. Didn't even think about it. It just came out of my bank account. Why would you say they better not be trying to censor my life? I do curse. Do they censor here? Did it warn you about something? Maybe. So then I know. Because I don't know how this algorithm works over here yet. I know on the clock app. You can't say certain things. But thank you, Jackie, for I'll pay attention to it. So, the ripple effect of care in community spaces. When care is centered, trust is built. How they did? It went black. Oh, thank you. I will be mindful of the language that I use. I appreciate that, Jackie. Oh, hi, Andrew. I'm glad you see me. When care is centered, trust is built. Conflicts are handled with accountability. Remember, love and accountability, hands in hand. It's been glitchy. I wonder how the recording is going to be because I see no indication. But it's good to know because I'm learning how this system works over here. So I will be more mindful. Um, okay, so back to the ripple effect of care in community spaces. When care is centered, trust is built. Conflicts are handled with accountability, and people feel safe to show up authentically. These ripples create systems that not only sustain individuals, but also inspire collective liberation. And it's true, right? Because when you see that happening, when you know that, when these things are like, you're this person is like, yes, I was able to stay in my house, or I had the ease because you settled this funeral debt, or we were able to eat this weekend. There is beauty in that, and not in a saviorist type of way, but in a way of like that we're one. If I'm not eating and they are, that's a problem, and vice versa. Like that's a it should be a problem. Like I don't know. Oh, I do know why it's so difficult of a concept. It should be a problem. What's happening to someone else should 100% be a problem for you. And individualism inside of supremacy culture is what makes it not. And we bypass it. And we're so exhausted and so drained from just trying to survive. We we don't give thought to it, right? And I'm not saying you're supposed to be inundated with it all the time. I'm saying that if you make the shifts in your life to do community care in a way that's sustainable for you in your space, it's going to change things, right? Because all of this started with somebody's idea and it just kept manifesting and growing and festering and festering. And we just need to shift that mindset and the ways of being. Third point, because I tried to honor people's time, especially it's a week. I appreciate so many of you showing up. Three, redefining success through collective care. Key. Supremacy culture ties success to hierarchy, wealth, and competition. Collective care redefines success as the ability to thrive together, ensuring no one is left behind. I use this example of my own life because I like to do that, right? When people turn around, and I know how it works inside of those hierarchies of whiteness, because if you would look at my mom, for all intents and purposes, she would have been considered about white trash, right? She was poor, she married outside of her race, she was on welfare, but my mother showed up to every single thing. That's what I remember in my childhood. Every single thing that I had at my school. Every single thing. I realize now that a lot of the reasons why she was on those school trips is because, like, as a parent, when you volunteer, your kid can go free. I don't have that desire. Like, I rather work harder to pay. I don't want to be around a bunch of children. But I respect that. My mom volunteered in the school. She was a, teacher's aide, whatever she could do, and she was there. And we spent a lot of time together. And we went to the library and I spent time at the planetarium. My mom's from Manhattan. I was born in the Bronx. So she knew the layout of Manhattan. Now, my other aunt, my favorite aunt, lived in the northern part of the Bronx, right? Hard worker, all of the blue collar, hard Irish work and stuff. And they would talk shit about my mom. Because obviously, she's getting food stamps, she's doing this and the other thing. And nobody's perfect. This is not a story of how amazing my mother is. Because if you know me, you know that we had our times as well. Then I have another aunt who did all of the things. She got married. She moved upstate, right? She had the bigger house and this and other thing. So I could see within those three sisters those hierarchies of whiteness. But in the end, first of all, we all die alone. Like, and my eldest aunt and my mom have now since passed. My auntie Jolie is the only one that's living. But in the end, I have some of the best memories with my mother, and her legacy is me sitting here before you. My mother advocated her whole entire life. When she was killed in a car accident, they spoke about her in that way. It was like HIV activist died in car crash on Hooksett. Her whole entire life was dedicated to advocacy, and she did it in joy. That is more successful. Her collective care, the way she was spoken about in newspapers. When I went to the Dunkin' Donuts in New Hampshire to go get my mom and her husband, they both died in a car accident. I went to go to the regular Dunkin' Donuts. The Dunkin' Donuts lady was like, your mother was such an amazing woman. They came here every day and they knew my mom's order and all of this. That's collective care. Everybody took care of each other. My mom didn't die a lonely person, unknown. And I don't mean fame like Oprah. I don't need fame. I'm talking about her community knew her. Her community saw her, right? And that care that she took of her community, they in turn took care of us, right? The church sponsored, allowed me to do the funeral there, you know what I'm saying? People came and brought food and all. That's that ripple effect. We were taken care of. It's that simple, right? So sometimes I could almost see their points, when you hear the right talking, and this is why I'm talking about getting curious of good old days, right? Of the ideas of, smaller, government and all of that. I get it. I get it. Unfortunately, it's wrapped up in bigotry, homophobia, transphobia. racism, xenophobia, anti-Semitism, and all of those other things. It is a misguided view of what community is, but community is something that's needed. And in that community care, especially when you start it within your home, it kind of looks like this morning we got up late because we went to the movies yesterday. I said, forget it, whatever. We went to go see Mufasa, right? Because I tried to convince the kids to do the trends. What did you say about my brother with Kieran? And in doing so, they forced me to go to the damn movies. So we went to the movies. We got back late, got up. My living room right now has a bunch of clothes on the floor that I was folding when we decided to go to the movies. Here, so you don't think that my whole life is absolutely perfect because those who teach and shit. There we go. There we go. This is how I left my house yesterday to go to the movies, right? And I was like, whatever, doesn't matter. But this morning, when my kids got up, again, Aaron Morgan jumped on the stove, 5, and made some eggs. And Kieran took his pile of clothes and put it in the room. And that's collective care at home. Because they don't have the expectation that I should do all of the things. And when we do those hierarchies, when we fall into those gender roles that says a woman is supposed to do X, Y, and Z in a home, and a man is supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and they have this script for whatever they believe a man and a woman is, you wind up with martyrs in the home that hate it. Okay? That absolutely hate it because there's an expectation and there's no space for failure. There's no space, no room to breathe. There's no room for care, right? So while Morgan was making eggs, I was doing the dishes that we also left. So now my dishes are done, my kids are fed, and half the laundry is put away. And I did not do all of that. And I want to make sure that it's all done by the time they come. That is how that happens in your own spaces, in your own home. Because being a martyr is not cute. It's not cute. And you are not doing anything. Because what you're doing is allowing them and teaching them to be policed, to be governed in a way that we are being done now, right? The wait till your father gets home, or he's supposed to only do that. You're making him a police officer. You're making him lord over you, them kids. And of course it's going to be acceptable when the police are out there doing it, when governors are doing it, presidents are doing it. It makes sense. Your home should be the first democracy. When's the last time you voted on something in your house? We voted on the movies. I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't because movies are expensive in the evening. What? Anyway, that's a whole other rant on things that are wildly expensive. Erica says, this is how you save my family. I stopped seeing myself as the martyr and resenting my family. We are not perfect, but my child is slowly learning they're part of the family. And my husband and I are finally working as a team. Yes, that's it. Because we have to be a team in the house, right? Like we just have to. We can't that being pit against each other. When my husband and I were together, and he'd be like, "You win" in a conversation. I'm like, if I win, that means somebody has to lose, and that would mean you're losing. But you're my husband, and we're supposed to be a team. So if you're losing, I'm losing. We lost. So let's sit down and figure out where we're both going to win in this thing, right? And that's that difference for me between compromise and synergy. It has to work for everybody involved. Everybody it has to make sense for. If not, it's pointless. Tiffany says, wow, this. My dad said our house was a benevolent dictatorship when we were growing up. This is a tell. A huge one, right? And there's no benevolence in dictatorships, which I'm sure you very well know. When the kids started helping, my husband and I got along better. Yes, Lily. Yes. Because why are they there if they're not a part of the community and they want to? Like, I did not ask my 5-year-old to cook. What I teach them is how to do things safely. She saw a need and met the need in her community. Mom's running around. We're trying to get there. I was like, guys, I gotta be on this live at 9:30 because I said I was gonna do it. I'm trying to honor that. And you guys won't get let into school after 9:30. I already settled on you being late. I pulled up and got back home at 9:15. But we worked together in community. And yes, it really does make a difference for the parents when the kids are a part of it. Jackie said, I'm traveling to New York this week, and we've been discussing plans for how the house will flow without me home. So much to say, this conversation makes me smile. Yay, I love that. Also, I have like worksheets and systems, paperwork to sit down. I'm going to share with you guys when we have a family meeting, me and the kids, and we talk about these things. Lizzie said we were both burned out. Yeah, absolutely. Because again, there's pressure for him too. He has to come in capitalism, being the provider in capitalism. And then even when the other person is providing in capitalism, those stressors are enough. Now we got to worry about keeping a clean house. Baby, listen, we can see the push for that in that minimalism, right? They're trying to make it seem aesthetic to not have anything because they don't want you to be focused on your home. If it's just bland and bare and there's nothing in it, of course you have a clean and tidy home and more time to work. I like my house full of stuff. I like nooks and crannies that tell the story of my life. It's my life. And this is my home. And this is where so many things happen, and this is where we eat and we laugh and we discuss and we have friends. I want a maximalist. I want every fucking thing I ever did to be right here in my face. Okay, when I die they could give it away. I don't care. That's literally written in there. Don't feel no guilt. Don't toss it all away. These are my memories. This is what I need. Keep what you want. Yes, it is a Stepford wife effect, and it yeah, it's uncomfortable. So anyhow, those are the things of collective care. And like, see, look at this is look, my kid wrote all over it. But so you can see for us, we have house rules and community care. We go through a list of how to love me. So each kid and person tells me how they like to be loved, how to talk to me, because you can't talk to me crazy. I don't give a fuck who you are, kid or not. See, everybody's color coordinated. Everybody has these little rules, and we go through that, and they learn how to be in community with each other. Because what we take for granted is because of that Christian idea of the nuclear family, is that just because we're connected to these people by blood, we like them. I explain to my kids, I'm like, I want to cultivate something that if you guys were not blood related, you'd actually like each other. I want you to like each other. Like, love is easy, right? Love is, I guess you're gonna love somebody if you live with them long enough, right? You're feeding, you're eating, you come from the same parents or the same household, whatever that is. But I want them to like each other. And part of liking each other is learning how to be in community with each other, right? All three are ADHD, two are ADHD with different ways that they express. So I remind them of that. So when one gets frustrated with the other, I'm like, oh, that's interesting because this is what this one did for you. And how can you care for that? And they are learning in real time how to make accommodations for themselves, how to make accommodations for others, and how to be in community. And because of that, that ripples out to other people, to other places and other spaces. And it's something that's so necessary. So I want to leave you with the idea of starting at home, beginning here, right here with you being your first home, giving yourself that space, giving that collective care, and allowing yourself to be cared for. State what you need. Okay. I'm going to give you a homework. State what you need this week. One thing, and allow somebody to do it for you. That's how you begin. One thing. One thing that you need. I don't give a shit if it's I need somebody to cook me dinner. I need somebody to come and fold these clothes. I need somebody to pick up this kid. I need I need somebody to give me a hug. Whatever that looks like, I need you to ask for it and allow somebody to show up for you and feel that feeling of what it's like to be held in collective care. And then you give it to someone else and you give it to someone else, and you're going to learn how collective care makes a huge difference inside of community. Michelle says being the martyr can be a lot about being the winner where everyone loses. Yes, right? Because if when we're talking gender roles and the Christianization of people, bodies, cultural practices, etc., it's a role that you're playing, right? Whiteness as a system sets up roles. It's going to tell you, as we can see, what a woman is, what a man is. And inside of those roles is going to tell you what you need to do. And if you are not doing them to the top tier perfection, right? Part of that perfectionism and those 15 pillars, you are failing. You can see it with men who do not earn enough money. You ain't shit. You ain't worth nothing. Has no value outside of capitalism. You see it with women, like, oh, your kid's bad, or they're this, they're falling off. You're a terrible mother. You can see it even in the good, right? My eldest, which I share, we're estranged, but during our college days, I was a teen. I was 16 and pregnant with a GED. But my child, has two fucking bachelor's degrees and like is in their grad school program and doing amazing with their life. And I love that for them. And people are like, oh, you did such a good job. And yes, I did. Absolutely 100%. I did do a good job but I will tell you where I went wrong. I parented her based on my needs. I was like, oh, you're going to not have to worry about X, Y, and Z so you could do A, B, and C. Right? I parented from my own trauma of not being supported in the way I felt I needed to be supported, which I'm sure led to part of our estrangement, yada, yada, yada. Anywho, point is, parents love to take credit for that, right? Oh, yeah, my kid did this, another thing, it's me, 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 me. But you know what? Nobody takes credit for their kid who's strung out on drugs. Nobody takes credit for your kid who's not, who's failing according to these systems of capitalism. You don't want to take credit for that. And that is a problem because it is all a part of the collective system, right? It is all symptoms of a larger problem, a larger system. So we have to get out of that mindset. We have to release these constructs because they're killing us. They're killing us and they're useless. And you know what? I may still not do laundry. And you know what? My kids are not going to talk shit. And they're going to be like, okay. And when they come home, they'll help. They'll help because they should. Not because I'm going to punish them. Not because I need to promise them some food, some money. Not because I said so, so you should do it. But because they live here. And this is their home. And we are all responsible for our immediate community. And that's just that simple. And that's how it should be for your neighbor and the person across the street. I have neighbors here. We talk. Hey, you good? My water just went out. Your water's out? Hey, my lights are out. Your lights are out? You need anything? You got anything? Made it my business to do that. I tell people, I'm like, if you think about it, even separating us in homes, and I'm going to get off because it's at the top, and I try to respect people's time boundaries. When you think about it, on your street, why do every one of us need a lawnmower? Right? If I have a lawnmower, they have a backpack blower, they have an edger, they have this. Collectively on our block, we could each take care of each other's lawns if that's your thing. Personally, I don't do the lawn thing, but that is collective care. And that is how you break away from systems of capitalism in community care. You say, you know what? Nah. I'm going to find 3 families on this block and one of us is going to buy one item. We're not all going to have a $400 fucking lawnmower. For what? For why? My lawnmower has sat in my shed because I don't do that stuff. Like, it's just not the thing that I can physically do any longer. For what? So when my neighbors were there, she had some boys and she didn't have a lawnmower. I said, look at God, won't he do it? I have a lawnmower and I don't got no boys to do this shit. So come on. So she would get her lawnmower, she would get my lawnmower, and her boys would do both of our lawns. And that's community care and disruption of capitalism. So that is my micro lesson of the day. I love that you guys are showing up for this. It's so much fun for me. It really is. So I hope you keep showing up. I'm going to keep showing up. This will go into a recording, get reposted on my Substack. First 10 days, completely free. After that, I'm going to shut it down to paid subscribers. But do not worry, because if you cannot afford it, which is normal in capitalism, you email me scholarships at DesireeBStevens.com. I will comp you the entire year, no questions asked. Super, super simple. I would love for you to be in community with me. I would love for us to do this work, share it, do what you can. I'll comp anybody because it should be accessible and equitable. So you say, hey, you know what? I know somebody, they don't want to say anything to you, but here's their email. I'll comp them. Okay? All right. Same time, same back channel, tomorrow, 9:30 in the morning Eastern. And yeah, take care of yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Always remember that this is trauma work. This is grief work. So it's okay to cry about it. It's okay to sit down and be like, holy shit, I can't, mind blown. What it's not okay to do is to get stuck in it. Okay? We're going to keep moving and pushing through. So breathe, drink water, move your body. See you tomorrow.